All hearts and minds are clear.
I love how everybody was staring.
Rosemary, Scott, Tracy, Mel, Kim, Jada.
Okay, so in 2018, during the worst wildfire in California history, future Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican, wrote a post on Facebook describing how the real and hidden culprit behind the wildfire was a laser from space triggered by some nefarious group of people. Again, she wrote a post on Facebook describing how the real and hidden culprit behind the wildfire was a laser from space triggered by some nefarious group of people. Greene's theory posits that a nefarious, again that word, nefarious entity used laser beams or a similar instrument to start the fire for financial profit or to clear space for California's high-speed rail system. She made these remarks on her personal Facebook page and posts that have since been deleted. In addition to being Islamophobic and anti-Semitic, Greene is an ardent QAnon supporter. Greene has pushed additional conspiracy theories about 9/11, the Parkland and Sandy Hook school shootings, the Las Vegas shooting, and the murder of Democratic staffer Seth Rich. CNN's Steck and Andrew recently reported that on her Facebook page, Greene repeatedly indicated support for executing prominent Democratic politicians in 2018 and 2019 before being elected to Congress. That speaks volumes. A spokesperson for House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy recently told Axios, these comments are deeply disturbing, and Leader McCarthy plans to have a conversation with the Congresswoman about them. House Republicans have selected Greene to be a member of the House Budget Committee and the House Committee on Education and Labor. So woman...
Y'all just let anybody go up and represent y'all Republicans.
Exactly. A woman who just pushed out false information, as we discussed on one of our other shows this week. She pushed out false information, and Facebook has since stopped her from doing that. But it's like this information was already out there. She's been pushing out these things. She's even attacked one of the Parkland survivors,
David Hogg,
on the street. And do we have any media of that? I don't know if we do, because I really want to show her doing that. Do we have that, Dwayne? Look.
Yeah, we got it.
Can we roll that?
Yeah. David, why are you supporting the red flag laws? If Scott Peterson, the resource officer at Parkland, had done his job, then Nicholas Cruz wouldn't have killed anybody in your high school, or at least protected them. Why are you supporting red flag gun laws that attack our Second Amendment rights? And why are you using kids as a barrier? Do you not know how to defend your stance? Look, I'm an American citizen. I'm a gun owner. I have a concealed carry permit. I carry a gun for protection for myself, and you are using your lobby and the money behind it and the kids to try to take away my Second Amendment rights. You don't have anything to say for yourself? You can't defend your stance? How did you get over 30 appointments with senators? How'd you do that? How did you get major press coverage on this issue? And how did you get kids? Why do you use kids? Why kids? You know, if school zones were protected with security guards with guns, there would be no mass shootings at schools.
Yeah.
She is absolutely disgusting.
The boy, why do you use kids? Because he is a kid. This kid, what Parkland, the Parkland shooting, forgive me, I'm not trying to be crass. There's just so many shootings. How long ago was the Parkland shooting? Like, 3 years ago? Maybe 4. This boy ain't even 23 yet. Is he even old enough to drink? And she's bothering him about why he's working with kids? See, Republicans, y'all so wild. Y'all just send anybody. Y'all done went through all of the reasonable people. You started off with William F. Buckley. He was bad enough, but at least he was an intellectual. And now y'all are down here with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay. Check, please.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Mondale.
So here's how uninformed she is. I don't know if y'all caught this. She's saying to him, why are you using kids to push your lobby? This is a survivor of Parkland. He was a kid himself. He was there. She's talking about you're using kids. She didn't even realize. I mean, and if she did, she's just that dizzy trying to get views, right? She's running behind this person with a cameraman, right? Talking to one of their survivors, one of the people that were in their building when this gunman opened fire. And she's not even, and it's not even registering that you may be triggering this person that was there when 17 people were murdered. His friends and teachers. What are you like? This is the inhumane ridiculousness of white supremacy and her thirstiness. Thirstiness. And let me tell you why she's thirsty. She's advocating for her rights to be there and asking him why he's there and why he has meetings. He's doing the same thing you're doing. He's an American citizen as well. And he has a right to talk to Congress folk about issues that he finds important and valuable, just like you do. You're just the problem is their tactics and their way of meaning depending on white supremacy is no longer the only capital that you need to get into the capital, right? So now that other people are being able to push issues that they disagree with based and grounded in racism, they find it hysterical or despicable. She's literally trolling this. She's trolling this kid, this young man who was there, bro. She's trolling him. And he is so mature in his actions that he acts as if she didn't even exist.
That's how he had to do it. Oh,
not one reaction. She got no reaction out of it.
She's stalking him. She's literally following him down the street, literally stalking him. And this is somebody that you guys chose to represent your party for Georgia. And that is really ridiculous because these are the people that, like, first of all, what she's talking about and how she's literally, to me, having him relive the trauma of his friends being shot up, of him being in that moment and saying that if it weren't for him, doing whatever he's doing, the shooter would have never did what he did. And that to me is ridiculous. That is nasty. It's disgusting. And she's not the only one though, guys. She's not the only person in this party that is that way. Right. And but they're reelecting these people even after what they see. Even after what they see. Go ahead, Marcus.
No, finish your statement.
Even after what they seen on the Capitol, this is just going to show you that they don't care about that. They just want to make sure they have they see Republicans in these seats, and they don't care who was an ally with the terrorists or what they've done. They'll get them back in those seats, and that's the problem. So, but yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
These guys were elected. This woman was elected to Congress because nationally Republicans bond over white supremacy. You can put a white supremacist into office, and you'll get national support. You'll put a gun-toting, angry white woman who obviously doesn't understand what David Hogg went through, much less what the Parkland shooting meant and what they're trying to fight for. They bond over that. They bond over white supremacy, and one of the tools of white supremacy is white gun ownership, and that's what she's done, and that's how she's elevated herself. And the National Republican Party supported that, right? So therefore, the National Republican Party is responsible for her words, even though they might separate themselves from it. In comparison to my party, which if there's a brother who decides to run for reparations against and chases a white segregationist down the street and questions him the same way that guy got questioned, he's not going to get considered to be the next rising star of the Democratic Party. He'll get considered to be a radical because we don't, like the Republicans bond over racism, we don't bond over equity in the Democratic Party. We don't bond over some of the same issues of breaking down racism like Republicans do, celebrating and keeping racism going, right? So there's a national party for white supremacy. There's not a national party for equity yet. And that's the only thing I have to say about that.
That's good.
That part.
And with that being said, no, go ahead, my dad.
Here's a tragedy of don't let that be small. What Marcus just said. This woman is not Congress because she represents the district in Georgia, because there was a Republican state senator who disagrees with her, her district overlaps. And he said, in my district, she didn't win the majority of the vote. This is directly what happens when outside money supports craziness and people aren't organizing in a district. This means that she is defeatable. I ain't gonna say beatable. I don't even know if either one of those words. She is defeatable. We can beat this person if the investment, if the investments are proper in that district, because this is outside national Republicans supporting this woman. And the sad part about it is, in 2018, this isn't the craziest thing she did. She was at a rally. She had a rally, right, where she said Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason and should be punished by death.
Yeah.
Punished by death.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's not a little thing.
Now let's make all this make sense. Now Marcus just told you that this is the national Republican reason that she's in office, right? She gets to DC, and what did she do when she get elected? She refused to go through the metal detectors. Guess why? Because she's carrying a gun into the Capitol, right? She's carrying a gun into the Capitol. Now keep this in mind. This is the same person that said this woman should be punished by death. She believed all these crazy conspiracies. Nancy Pelosi has been threatened with death by this woman, and now she's refusing to go through the metal detector because she's carrying a gun into the Capitol. If we worked at any other business, think about this. If we worked at any other business, if I threatened to kill Marcus on the morning trap and then showed up to the office for a morning trap with a gun, how the hell am I able to how can I keep my job? Why is this woman still allowed to go into Congress? And not only is she allowed to keep her job, back to the National Republicans again. McCarthy, who's the leader for the Republicans, puts her on very important important committees. The Budget Committee, the Education Committee. How are you rewarding this woman for threatening this person's life with murder and then showing up to work with a gun, an instrument that can give murder?
It's funded. I mean, guys, it's funded. Like if y'all don't understand that white supremacy is funded, it's funded by a national party, right? Oh, yeah. When every single, no matter what you think, every single national party, and hopefully Jamie changes this for the Democrats, but every single national party has their favorites in the primary. The DNC has their favorite in the primary, and Republicans have their favorite in the primary. I mean, hell, look at what happened with Booker in Kentucky, right? And the RNC thinks that hatred is the way to go because they look at their numbers and they're like, well, they haven't officially separated themselves from Trump at all, right? This is Trumpism. This is funded Trumpism, right? And we'd be remiss if we didn't see that this is what they're breeding. So it's the more equitable this country gets, every single time that Joe Biden signs a bill that does something for people of color, black folks and poor folks, every single time that a black governor or black senator gets elected in any state in the South, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction. We just got to beat them off with more votes.
There's the scene. There's a really a thing that happens when they're doing the exorcism in movies, right? Where it gets, the closer they get to getting rid of that devil, the wilder that devil acts. What we saw on January 6th, it was a reaction to the simple fact that we voted, right? That's the level that we're at. And what I'm saying is that these are the death pangs of white supremacy. White supremacy has run up against the United States in a way that it clearly identifies white supremacy is now a threat. And I have to give Joe Biden this. When he said white supremacy was domestic terrorism, that is the way the United States must view white supremacy going forward. And we cannot let our fatigue make us just kind of forget. We're exhausted in this country. We're exhausted, right? Donald Trump wore us down. But we cannot allow our fatigue to let us forget what we saw at the beginning of this year when white supremacy almost destroyed this entire country.